Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the News Today edition of 20th of August, wherein we try and present all important news for the day in the most simplest format for you guys to understand. So let's look at important news for today. So Ministry of Tribal Affairs has officially launched the Adi Karmayogi Abhiyan. Election Commission has notified the schedule for Vice President election of 2025. The Standing Committee on Finance has released a report which calls for even distribution of industries across all states. And lastly, Chinese foreign minister's first visit since escalation along the line of actual control has happened recently. We are also going to discuss place in news, that is Canada, along with quick updates for the day. So the very first news, so Ministry of Tribal Affairs has launched what we call as Adi Karam Yogi Abhiyan. So we have been reading about it since long. So officially, this particular program has been officially announced. Again, coming under which ministry? Ministry of Tribal Affairs, right? And again, it is interlinked to your paper number 2 syllabus, social justice, vulnerable sections of society, ST, constitute that as well. That is why this topic is very important. So let's look at what exactly is this all about. So in that release of the particular scheme, this line was specifically discussed. And that is why I have picked up this line, so that again you have a clarity that again sometimes some beautiful lines comes up in the form of a news wherein we can use them as a good source of content in conclusions or in introductions of our answers. Example, here they talked about that again how this Abhiyan, that is Adi Yogi Abhiyan, is going to be emphasizing on the ideas of seva, that is service, Sankalp, that is resolve, and Samarpan, that is a dedication, which is basically reflecting the guiding principles of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Prayas, and Sabka Vishwas. So these kind of lines could be used either in introductions or in your essays, starting or ending, right? That is why whenever these lines comes up, you can have you can prepare a set of notes wherein you can use that content as and when required, either in your essays or in your GS answers, right? So what exactly is the mission? So again, tribal population of the country have been respected by our constitution makers as well. And that is why some special protection has been given to them when the Constitution of India was made. And one of the reasons of not maybe application of uniform civil code back during the time when constitution was being made was the idea of respecting the customs and traditions of these tribal people. But since then, the development along these tribal villages in India has been on a top-down approach. But again, not government is planning that again, there has to be bottom-up approach wherein the tribal people in these tribal villages should be involved in the governance process so that again their cultural values, everything is going to be respected in the lines of development along that tribal villages. So that has been the idea on which lines this mission has been launched. So the vision is, of course, to rebuild the governance across these tribal villages, which is going to be a bottom-up approach. And again, it should be guided by the tribal values and led by the local leadership. That is the vision. And the objective, of course, is to empower tribal communities with people-centric governance. So again, governance we all have read. The idea of people-centric governance basically means there has to be, because again, people are going to be governed. So you have to take into consideration what are their needs. That has been the central idea along this bottom approach of governance. Then we have, they have been telling that the objective is that we are going to create approximately 20 lakh change leaders across these tribal villages across the country, which is of course spanning around in 1 lakh villages, 550 districts, 30 states. So that has been the major vision and objective of this particular mission. Then, in terms of key components, so how exactly this mission has been visioned? Number one, in terms of institutional mechanisms, they have been telling that again, in every village, we need to have what we call as an Adi Seva Kendra. Example, it is just like a help center wherein in every village it would have been a Adi Seva Kendra, where again it will be having a local service hubs, wherein every fortnightly, it is monthly twice, the villagers and the officials is going to meet and discuss and resolve issues around governance of that particular area. And that has been denoted as Adi Seva Samay. That again, every officer and the people of the villages should dedicately give their time, that is Samay, right? So that again, the development will be in an inclusive manner. Then we have governance lab workshops. So in these workshops, people can come together, people can discuss issues around certain problems in the area. So again, in these workshops, there is going to be solution creation for tribal development, which will span across from the at a state level to village level. Then we have tribal village action plan. We all know about how development is there, and again we are going to achieve 2030 we are going to achieve trying to achieve this 17 sustainable developmental goals. So in this idea, that again there has been an incorporation, that again every village or every tribal village is going to make their plan, that again how exactly they are going to develop on the lines of these sustainable developmental goals, which is going to be achieved by 2030. That has been the idea. In terms of volunteer engagement, that again, of course, if we talk about people-centric governance, if I talk about involvement of people, there has to be volunteers who is going to be volunteering in this whole noble purpose of development. Then they have told they are termed as Adi Sahayogi, that is our professionals. In that village, of course, there would be teachers, there would be doctors, there would be different kind of a professional people, right? So all of these people are going to volunteer in this whole program, and they are going to mentor and mobilize the entire program. Number one. Then there would be Adi Sathis. So again, these people which will lead, for example, the self-help group members, the national rural livelihood members, then again the elders, the youths, the local leaders. So they will be coming together to spread awareness among the tribal villages about this particular program of the government, right? That has been the idea with respect to Adi Sahyogi and Adi Satis. Then it has also been discussed that again, in order for this development to happen, there has to be capacity development of the people over there. So for that particular purpose, what do we have? Training of tribal youth, women leaders in the ideas of governance, problem solving, and social mobilization has been discussed. So these are the key components of the program. Then how exactly it is significant. So this has been a part of what we call as Janjatiya Gaurav Varsh, and it is also going to be envisioning with an idea of Viksit Bharat. That is, again, we are going to complete 100 years of independence by the year 2047. That is again coming under this Viksit Bharat program of government. There are other tribal schemes which have been launched by the government. That is supposedly you are going to know. That is very important. Maybe these kind of schemes usually come up in your prelims examination because it was in news. So we have Dharti Aba Janjatiya Gram Utkarsh Abhiyan, that is calling for an holistic development of the tribal villages. Then we have PM Janman scheme, which is again targeting the PVTGs, that is particularly the vulnerable tribal groups, for their development. Then we have National Sickle Cell Anemia Elimination Mission, that has also been talked regarding health issues and how we're going to better plan it with respect to the tribal population living in those villages. That has been the idea. So again, very important topic for examination, because ST population or the tribal people constitute a vulnerable sections of our society. And again, there have been a lot of questions asked in examination. So one such question is, in the year 2023, there was a question, development and welfare schemes for vulnerable by its nature are discriminatory in approach. Do you agree? That is where they are asking your opinion. So are these developmental programs or approaches or schemes are discriminatory in their approach, right? So again, in this vulnerable section, there could be one section that is the tribal population. You can mention the Adi Karmayogi mission in this particular answer as well. That is how you're going to see such things. The next important news, Election Commission of India has notified the schedule for Vice President election of 2025. We have discussed this topic many times. So now we are going to focus on the election aspect. We have discussed altogether maybe how, what is the removal process, how it is getting removed, what other majorities we have discussed in the previous editions of News Today. Today we are just going to discuss what exactly is the election process of the Vice President of India. These type of topics makes this constitutional post again in news, and out of all the constitutional bodies and posts you're going to read, such topics become important for your examination. As simple as that, right? So in terms of election procedure, number one, nomination, of course, people are going to nominate who will be the candidates for the upcoming vice president election, and that is somewhere there are nominations which have been filed by different people, and again different people have been nominated. So it requires, the constitution says, we require 20 proposers and 20 seconders from the members of parliament, right? And they and the nominee or the person who is going to be getting elected has to deposit a security sum of 15,000 rupees with the Reserve Bank of India. Simple. Then we have what we call as voting, right? So who is eligible to vote in the election of Vice President of India? So it tells the electoral college consists of the members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And here again the catch, and again vice president vis-a-vis president, again very important, right? So again confusion starts here. So again we are going to discuss such comparative manner as well. So in this election, in the election of Vice President of India, both elected as well as nominated members of the Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha participate or become a part of electoral college. In president, what is the difference? Are nominated members allowed to vote? Tell me in comment. And what exactly is the difference? Are the members of state legislative assembly, are they a part of electoral college of the President of India? So tell me in comment, what is the difference between the electoral college for the election of Vice President of India vis-a-vis the President of India? Simple. I expect your comments in the comment section. Then we have the voting, of course, is on similar lines as like president, that is by proportional representation by means of single transferable vote system. And again, voting is going to be done by a secret ballot system, again under Article 66 of the Constitution. Then we have the vote value of each person who is going to vote in that election process is going to be 1. Then we have no whip. Again, we have read about party whip, an informal mechanism where again party appoints a whip who is going to check and make sure that again the party members are doing things aligning with the party decisions. So again, but in this process of election of Vice President of India, there is no whip. No one can tell that whom you are supposed to vote in the election process. So again, and again, the provisions of anti-defection law is not applicable in the voting process of the Vice President of India. Again, as there is no whip, everyone is going to vote based upon what they will, right? That is the idea of not having whip over here. Then in general, what are the conditions of office of Vice President of India? Let's discuss very simply. Article 66 subclause 2 talks about that the Vice President of India should not be a member of either House of Parliament, that is Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha, or a member of state legislature. Let's say somebody is getting elected to the post of Vice President and he is a member of either of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha or the assemblies. Once he gets elected, his post or his position or in that particular house is automatically deemed to be vacated. Right, that has been the idea. Then he should not hold any office of profit. Tell me in comment, what do you understand by office of profit? Right, very important concern. So in terms of this, then again, the tenure of course is of 5 years from the office of presumption. Then again, it continues till the successor assumes the charge. Then again, he is eligible to re-elect any number of times. And again, Article 68, subclause 2 talks about it. Again, as of now, there was a vacant position. So as soon as there is a vacancy, there has to be conduction of fresh elections. And election is going to be conducted by Election Commission of India under Article 324. Then in terms of eligibility, basic, he should be citizen of India, again age is 35 years of age, he should be qualified to be elected as a member of Council of States, that is Rajya Sabha, not Lok Sabha, very important. Then he should not hold any office of profit under Government of India or the government of any state or under any local or other authority. I have asked you, and again I'll ask you, what do you understand by office of profit? But here again it is a catch. Sitting president, sitting vice president, the governor of states, or union and state ministers are not qualified because these posts are not coming under the idea of office of profit. Right? Then the nomination rules, again, we have discussed altogether. Then in terms of any question, so again, yes, again, as I discussed some time back, maybe in 22, vice president was in news. So a question came that discuss the role of vice president of India as the chairman of Rajya Sabha, right? He is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. As soon as he assumes the office of vice president, he automatically becomes the chairman of Rajya Sabha, right? So again, that was the question over here, right? So that is how some post which comes back in news due to election or any other reason becomes important for your examination. Then we have the Standing Committee on Finance, and now these days a lot of parliamentary committees have been throwing their opinion, their viewpoint, and that how exactly there are different sectors in the governance process or in the economic process, and how we are going to see some reforms in them. So the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Finance has told, which has called for even distribution of industries across all the states. So again, what they have told, ki once we see the nature of industries in India, some states have a lot of industries and some states have no industries. And that has been the idea which has been highlighted by this report of finance, Standing Committee on Finance. So again, industry is important topic for your examination, GS paper number 3 under economy, right? Now moving forward, what exactly this report has told. So again, some few observations which this committee or the Parliamentary Standing Committee has observed. They have told, when we talk about industry, so industries are state subject. What does state subject means? That again, only state government can make a law on that particular subject. So although it is a state subject, the committee has told that again, central government involvement in the overall development of industries across the country is very important, right? Then they have also told, the economic survey of 24 and 25 again has highlighted this thing, that again there has been unequal distribution of industries across the state. Right. So again, why it is very important? Because if there are industries in states, what is going to happen? There would be a lot of job opportunities, there would be a lot of growth, there would be high income of people in that particular state, and overall development is going to happen. So with these industries, a lot of economic issues around the area could be solved, and that has been highlighted, that again why some regions who have industries, there is a lot of growth we are seeing over in such states, but again some states where there are less number of industries, equal amount of growth is not visible. So again, this report has, or the committee has highlighted how exactly there has been an unequal, let's say, distribution of industries across states. They have told, when we talk about Gujarat, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, they are strong industrial states, and that is why maybe you can see that again how we call Gujarat as a very developed state, right? Vis-a-vis, if we talk about some northeastern states of India, some northern states of India, maybe we can talk about Bihar, right? So these states, as they have less number of industries, we see less development around that particular states. Then we talk about manufacturing hubs. So again, we see the importance of manufacturing sector in the economy, and again how they have a lot of potential in terms of creation of a lot of jobs, right? So with unemployment rising in the country, youth unemployment rising, these manufacturing hubs are a probable solution to solve that problem. So with industries, automatically manufacturing hubs are going to be created. Tamil Nadu has highest factories concentration. Vis-a-vis, if we talk about Bihar and some northeastern states, they do not have. And that is why you see there are less employment opportunities in these states and people start migrating. So again, a lot of problems could be solved if there is equal distribution of industries across all states of India. How exactly they have told that, again, the reasons of disparities. One is, of course, historical reason. We have been under colonial rule. So Britishers had made sure that again they were concentrating industries across specific areas. For example, West Bengal, Maharashtra, that has been the reason that again still now we have been seeing more industries in that particular region. Then we talk about geographical constraints. Many times industries setup require some geographical, let's say, parameters to be taken up into consideration. If terrains are not good, if it is difficult for maybe trucks to travel in that particular area, that leads to less development of industries in some regions. So again, in Himalayan region, in northeastern states, difficult terrain or difficult geographical conditions has been one such reason of less industries in that particular region. Then if we talk about inadequate infrastructure, so in general, if we talk about some states where again we are not seeing much of industries, example Bihar and northeastern region, there is less or poor supply of power, transportation, land availability. So these are the probable reasons with respect to poor infrastructure. Then in terms of policy and planning issues, again we talk about green revolution. Green revolution happened in the states of Punjab and Haryana. So again that has benefited few states due to some kind of policies of the government. So these are the few reasons which has been discussed by this committee, that again these are the reasons for disparity across different states of India, where again why do we find some states have more industries and some states do not have industries, right? Then what exactly is the way forward? When we talk about way forward, number one, there has to be a balanced industrial policy that is going to be equitable production or equitable setup of industries across all the states, because we have seen once industries is going to be there, that is going to solve a lot of problem. The problem of unemployment, the problem of growth, the problem of job opportunities, the problem of migration, the problem of development, the problem of poverty, many a things, right? So that is why this emphasis has been given by this committee. Then in terms of there has to be deregulation and infrastructure boost, where again power, transportation, digital connectivity has to be there, which is again very important factors for industrial development. Then we have, of course, it is a state subject. Again, if center is again making any plan, there has to be cooperation between them. That is where the idea of cooperative federalism comes into picture, where again there has to be cooperation between center and the state government with respect to skill development programs, credit support, education, investment in lagging states. So these are the probable way forwards which are very important for equitable setup of industries across all regions of the country, right? And lastly, India needs a balanced growth, right? So why? Because it is very important that again, if you're living in a country, why some regions due to some factors see less growth vis-a-vis other growth, or vis-a-vis other states. That is why the idea of balanced growth is very much emphasized. And one such factor would be setting up of industries across different states. Again, there could be these data and this fact could be used in many questions of inclusive growth, inclusive development, right? And that could be used in your answers. Again, that is why I have been again telling you this point. These reports or these recommendations by the standing committees of parliament could be a probable answers or probable points for your answers in the topics which are discussing over here, right? So please make sure that again you include such suggestions in your respective notes, so that again you are going to remember them and use them in the examination day. Then we have, so the Chinese foreign minister's visit has been there in India, and again he has met our national security advisor, Mr. Ajit Doval, right? So that has been a very, very important in terms of international relations and relations with China, which was stranded since the maybe there was a dispute around the land of actual control, and that has been a major landmark event vis-a-vis the idea of whole tariff war going on, US imposing tariffs on us. And again, a lot of things is happening, and this step has been a very great deal for India altogether, important for international relations topic. So it has been a first visit of a Chinese foreign minister after the whole disturbance around the line of actual control. And they specifically, both the foreign ministers have co-chaired a 24th Special Representatives Dialogue, And again, the aim, of course, is to reduce tension, strengthen cooperation, and reset bilateral ties, which has been stranded off due to this line of actual control dispute with again as we go forward, right? So that very important in terms of India China relations, because we have a very stranded relation, and with this global maybe imbalance of power going around, this specific maybe talk between the two countries is very important for India and China both as a country. So what was the outcome and what things have been discussed? That again, number one, the problem is of border dispute. So they have come together and they have discussed that again how we are going to resolve the border dispute between two countries. They have told that again, since there has to be some reasonable and a mutual acceptable framework for settlement of border disputes, and we are going to follow the 2005 agreement on political parameters and guiding principles, which is going to be a very rational way of solving that particular dispute. They have also told that again, in case of border management, there has to be setting up of expert group and working groups under the working mechanism of for consultation and coordination between the two countries. Then they are also going to tell that again, whenever any tension is going to be coming forward with respect to border dispute, we are going to use diplomatic and military level mechanisms to solve the problem. So these are the few things what have been discussed in terms of border management with China. Then in terms of restarting of talks, so again, as I discussed, after the whole incident line of actual control, there has been the relations have been stagnant, right? So they have told that again, dialogues again need to be started. And again, from 2026, they have told that cultural exchange meetings is again going to start. For example, student exchanges, cultural programs, all everything is going to resume in terms of restarting of whatever things which were stopped. Then in terms of 75 years, so again, we are celebrating 75 years of relation with China. So they have also told that again, we are going to celebrate a lot of events to commemorate the idea of having 75 years of relation with that particular country. Then air travel, direct flights were halted. They were stopped. So they have told that again, to restart direct flights as soon as possible, which were stopped. Then there is pilgrimage idea or context as well, where again we have the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra, which is of course a Hindu religious pilgrimage through Tibet region. So again, that will also be expanded from 2026. We have also talked about that again, of course, there are a lot of rivers which are being shared between India and China. Tell me what are the rivers in the comment section. So China has told that again, it is going to share with us any relevant data with respect to river, so that again probable disasters could be avoided. Example, floods, right? So if it is sharing data of water level during flood situation, it is going to help us better tackle the upcoming disaster, right? Then in terms of border trade, so trade routes are again going to open through Lipu Lake in Uttarakhand, Shipkila in Himachal Pradesh, Nathula in Sikkim. Again, it is going to reopen, and again, it is of course going to increase the trade between these two countries. Locate them in map, very important for the prelims examination. So these are the few outcomes of the particular foreign minister's visit. Let's see, and again, it's very hopeful. We are very hopeful as a country that again, how we are going to see and go forward with this kind of continuous dialogue with China, with the global tension around different countries. So any question and significance? Yes, it is of course going to de-escalate the efforts after border tensions. It is going to open and boost the people-to-people ties, pilgrimage, cultural exchanges. It is going to be revival of economic and connectivity links. And again, it shows the attempt to balance competition with cooperation. Again, India, China has been a lot of times in news. So some topics comes back in news. Example, the Belt and Road Initiative is sometimes mentioned in news in the context of affairs of African Union, Brazil, European Union, and China. Tell me in comment what could be the answer to this particular question. Then the place in news. So Canada was in news. Why? Because again, the second worst wildfire of the season has been recorded. That has made this region very important and again back in news. we are going to locate Canada, where it is there in terms of important seas, Labrador Sea, Atlantic Ocean, the bordering countries, right? So location is there in the northern half of North America. In the eastern side, it is bordered by Atlantic, in the western side by Pacific, and again in the northern side by, of course, Arctic. The neighboring countries include USA, which has been sharing a longest border with Canada, right? And again, some maritime border with France and Denmark. Some geographical features. It is the second largest country of the world after Russia, right? And again, in terms of vegetation, it has Arctic tundra, boreal forest, Rocky Mountains, prairies, and again, Canada holds 20% of the world's freshwater resources, and there are a lot of important lakes: Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, Huron, Ontario, Erie. So very important physical features of the country, very important for your examination as well. So please go and locate them in map and see them, what are the important features. Moving on to the quick updates for today. Number one, the Parliamentary Consultative Committee has been set up for Ministry of Ayush recently. So that is why this topic is in news. What do you understand by Parliamentary Consultative Committees? We understand what are parliamentary committees, right? So parliamentary committees are very, very important. So before this, very quickly, if we call as Lok Sabha, that is the legislature, executive comes out of the legislature, right? If this is legislature and executive is a part of legislature, executive is what we call as the government in the general terms, right? So many times it was found that the government decisions or policy level were not communicated with the other members of the parliament who are not a part of the executive or the government. So this Parliamentary Consultative Committee has been set up to create awareness among the MPs or the members of parliament about the work done by the government. And again, it is going to be an informal consultation on policies and programs which are launched by the government of India, right? So its composition, of course, is going to be decided by government of India. It is going to have 10 to 30 members of parliaments, and the membership, of course, is not compulsory. It is voluntary of nature. The role is basically, it is going to act as a bridge between government and members of parliament. It is going to be helping in terms of better feedback mechanism for policy making. It is coming under that the Constitutions Committee has been given to the responsibility of Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs under Government of India Allocation of Business Rules 1961. Very important. They can ask this committee few of the points, and they can ask you which of the options are correct or incorrect. Let's say, is the membership voluntary? Who can set up this committee? Under which rules this committee is being set up? What is the purpose of the committee? These kind of questions usually come up in the form of objective question in prelims examination. Then we have additional judges of High Court. So recently, President of India has appointed additional judges to High Courts of Punjab and Haryana. What exactly are these additional judges? Sometimes the requirement of judges or the increase of workload of certain high courts makes it's very important that, again, in order to cater to that increased workload, we need to appoint more judges. Or if there are some kind of vacancies, that is very important. Again, we need to appoint such additional judges. So president has a power to appoint additional judges to high courts, right? And again, upon the recommendation of the collegium, right? And again, it is coming under Article 224, Clause 1 of the Constitution. Again, to cater to the temporary increase in the caseload and arrears. And again, when a judge, of course, CGI cannot, or the Chief Justice of that particular High Court could not be appointed as additional thing. Only judge could be appointed, or only additional judges who are going to discharge functions of a High Court judge is only going to be done, right? Tenure is 2 years. Or as specified by the President of India, and again, they are going to serve till they attain age of 62 years. Basic facts important for the topic of judiciary. Then we have Quality Council of India. Again, many times some body comes up in news that makes that body important for your examination. So you are going to quickly note down what are important facts around that particular body. So again, Quality Council of India, it is set up under the Societies Registration Act of 1996. It is again formed by Government of India in consultation with certain industrial bodies. Then the nodal department is Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. The governance, it has 39-member council, and the chairperson is nominated by the Prime Minister of India. Basic role, to check the quality through national campaigns, ensure third-party assessment, global standards, improve quality of life of citizens. That is the idea of Quality Council of India. So recently, National Accreditation Board for Testing and Calibration Laboratories has been coming under Quality Council of India, has launched a new medical application portal. News is not that important, but again, that body which has been there in news is important for your examination. Then we have Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, that is CBIC. They have told that again, we import raw cotton. So they have told that again, they have exempted all custom duties for import of raw cotton. That was it news. That makes this whole body again important for our examinations. So again, its headquarters is in New Delhi. It is a statutory body under the Central Boards of Revenue Act of 1963. Earlier, it was known as Central Board of Excise and Customs. Basic functions, they formulate and implement policies of customs, excise, and GST. They levy and collect duties and taxes. They prevent smuggling and manage of narcotics laws. They administer CGST, excise, and customs. Important basic facts for the body of Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs. Then we have Indian Council of Social Science and Research. So again, today, all the topics what we're discussing, there are some bodies which are being discussing. So again, all of these bodies, if you are reading now, please make a note of it. So again, whenever new bodies comes up in the news, you make a page or a booklet or a file where again you're going to note down all such bodies, their names, their mandate, their ministry, their basic aim, right? That is how you're going to revise them towards the end, and you are going to get a very consolidated note by your own, right? So Indian Council of Social Science Research was in news because recently one of the people of Maharashtra has talked about malpractice being done in the election process. That is why this ICSSR has issued notice to its own one of the bodies, that is Center for Study of Developing Societies, over manipulation of Maharashtra poll data. That was the news. So news not that important, but again, basic facts about the body is very important. Established under 1969, it is an apex body for research in social and human sciences. It is coming under Ministry of Education, Government of India. It is having a basic role of to promote and fund research on social issues and challenges, to provide research-based policy inputs, to support institutions and scholars through schemes and fellowships, again, Ministry of Education, so that is why, and facilitate knowledge for nation's development. So basic facts around that body is very important for your examination. Then we have Palmyra palm tree. So again, the government has told this particular Palmyra palm tree has a lot of benefits. In fact, a lot of benefits in terms of, we see the incidences of lightning happening, and again, usually it is being told that don't be near trees or below the trees whenever there is lightning, right? That is a potential danger area, right? So these kind of palm trees, that is palmyran trees, are very important. They protect and they help in the regions where again lightning is happening. And they have a lot of benefits. Let's see. So again, that is why any body or any, let's say, species of flora or fauna, whenever it is in news, it is important for you also to read upon it. And again, out of all the biodiversity species you are going to read, that becomes important for your examination. So they are found, they have an origin and status native to tropical Africa, and it is very important. It is a state tree of Tamil Nadu. It requires sandy, red, black, alluvial, and even arid wasteland. That shows how diversified this tree could be, that it can grow in many kind of soils. It requires semi-arid region, less than 750 mm of rainfall, which is again very good. Then again, it is requiring an altitude of sea level of 800 meters. important facts you can remember. Then in terms of its benefits, it is reducing the lightning related deaths, number one. It is also a food source for elephant in the lean seasons. Then it is having a multi-purpose role. This plant has a lot of benefits. It is used in housing, it is used in medicine, it is used for giving shade, for food, a lot of benefits, and that is why it has been discussed as a very potential diversified crop which has a lot of benefits in terms of people as well as environment, right? Then we have sustainable aviation fuel. We discussed in the last edition of News Today again about sustainable aviation fuel, where again the government has been planning Indian Oil Corporation has launched a refinery in Panipat, where again sustainable aviation fuel is going to be made. Sustainable basically means the fuel is going to be made from some eco-friendly manner. That has been the news. So recently, Indian Oil has signed a memorandum of understanding with Air India to supply for the supply of sustainable aviation fuel. So one thing very important, all the aircrafts are compatible to be running in this kind of a blended fuel, right? So definition, they are basically made from alternative fuel from non-petroleum feedstocks. Example, we talk about corn, grain, oil seeds, algae, fats, you have used cooking oil, agri residues, forestry residues, wood waste. So all of these are the sources through which we can make this sustainable aviation fuel. So the blending is the maximum capacities you can blend up to 50% with that conventional jet fuel. But again, as of now, India's has mandated 1% of sustainable aviation fuel blending in the jet fuel for international airlines from 2027. Very important for with climate change happening, with greenhouse gases increasing, these kind of initiatives are very, very important, right? Then we have privatization of defense production. So again, we have read about it, that again, how in defense industries, there has been a lot of startups, private startups who have been coming into picture, and that is very important for the development around the particular sector. This report has told that again, the share of private sector is 22.56%, which is again increasing year by year. Again, in the very third consecutive year, we have been on an increasing trend in terms of defense public sector undertakings. Its share has been 57.50%, right? So government of India has done a lot of initiatives in order to boost private sector. Number one is IDX, that is Innovations for Defense Excellence. We have DTIS, that is Defense Testing Infrastructure Scheme. Aditi, that is ASINC, development of innovative technologies with IDX, TDF, Make in India, Positive Indigenization List. All such important schemes we have discussed it also. You can use these schemes as content in your mains answer writing whenever there's a question around defense and again privatization in general also. So that makes this topic again important for prelims as well as mains examination. With this, we come to an end for today's discussion. So all important questions which could be framed from the newses what we have discussed today will be popping up in your screen. It is very important, once you have read, once you have listen to the discussion, it is now your responsibility to solve the questions. Once you solve these questions, you'll get a completeness in the sense of you have completed this topic by reading, by understanding, and again by solving certain questions. Again, please post your answers in the comment section. It is again going to create a competitive environment around all the students who are watching this News Today edition by Vision IS. And lastly, Vision IS has come up with a digital current affairs platform, which is going to be a one-stop solution for all current affairs resources, any products with respect to current affairs. So please go and explore. It is certainly going to help you a lot in terms of your current affairs preparation for this examination. Lastly, thank you. Have a good night and all the very best.